Hey guys, and welcome back to another Ruby Red Rose podcast. So, this is going to be mainly focused on Volume 9 of Ruby, and if you have not watched that far in Ruby, catch up first, because there will be spoilers ahead, and I am not apologising for them.
Oh yeah, there'll be a lot. I guess I'll address the elephant in the room then. I don't know where he is on your screen, on the recording screen, but on my screen, he's there. Wait, no, actually, I'm
Hello.
back, so it'll be that way. We have a brand new guest for the Red Rose cast, and that is Jacob, also known as the Abrupt Canine.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
Thank you.
I'll talk more about him later, but right now, we need to get into the Ruby volume. So yeah. So obviously, we're on Volume 9. Pretty big, pretty momentous. Ruby has been going for a very freaking long time. So I guess we'll start with the obvious question, which is, what do we think of Volume 9 so far? Jacob, I will go to you, my friend, because special guests always go first, unless they're
what an honor. Oh gosh. Well, for one, it's been a lot. It's really been a lot, but in a good way. To be honest, I've seen a lot of mixed reception through this volume, which, to be honest, I was 100% expecting, more so than any other volume, because every volume there's always mixed reception, but with this one especially, it was like, we're in a completely different location. We're in the ever after. This is not Remnant. Like, basically, we're going to meet a lot of really strange, wacky characters. This is going to be completely, disconnected from the main Remnant arc at the moment with Salem. I mean, obviously there's connections, but this is going to be a completely, different take. So I knew there would be mixed reception on that, because I know a lot of people were probably thinking things like, I want to watch this. I want to see what's going on in Vacuo. I want to see Vacuolo and all that,
yeah, no one's been saying that. We're talking about continue.
But I will say it's been really, really good, and so far I was really pleasantly surprised. I will say I was, in terms of the music, I was a little bit like concerned, not concerned, but a little bit kind of like, because I knew that we know that Jeff has retired now. He's not doing the soundtrack anymore.
I was right.
Yeah, he's not doing the soundtrack anymore.
We just did a react, and I completely forgot that happened. I didn't know if it was a thing, and I just said, "Oh, someone will correct me in the comments." So you better do that, my friend. All right?
It is a thing. Yeah, he did retire, and it's now entirely Casey. And but the thing is, I was concerned about that, because Jeff has been such a and it's nothing against Casey, obviously, because because she's a fantastic singer, and she's in herself a fantastic, she does great work with music. But Jeff has been the heart and soul of he's been the lead, and I was a little bit concerned, just passing all of that to Casey. I was worried, she would get burnt out, or this was. But from what I can tell so far, she's done a spectacular job. The character arcs, very much am enjoying, especially Ruby's.
Let's be honest, that's the one that everybody's looking at right now, and it
breakdown. Because that's gonna happen at some point. We all know it. It's gonna happen. But I've really personally been enjoying it. The visuals are beautiful, truly wonderful, and I don't care what anybody says, this 2-year hiatus was so worth it, because people don't realize that I'm pretty sure the Texas snowstorms, as well as COVID, really hit Volume 9's production.
Absolutely.
They barely got Volume 8's finale done. That's
how bad it was. It was
because I was speaking to this was at a online meet and greet. I was speaking to Miles, and he said that there was a whole different plan for the finale. They had about another 10 minutes worth of ideas they wanted to put in, but there was so much they had to cut because of the snowstorms, because they were still finalizing it. So it's I already tell that they're not going to recover easily from the snowstorm. So I knew there would probably be a delay. I wasn't expecting 2 years, but I knew there would be a delay on Volume 9, and it was so worth it because the visuals is just, it's beautiful. Honestly, they have captured such a fantastic.
And it's so different compared to every other volume of RWBY as well. I mean, it would be because we're in like this weird mystical world as well. But I think they've done a really good job with like the environment, the world building as well. So I'll definitely give them that. To their credit, they've done a good job in that sense.
Oh yeah, it's been wonderful, and then I will say I do have some like critique. One of my critiques is there is like this is a bit nitpicky, but I'll say it anyway. I found that some of the episodes could have been a bit longer, and I feel a bit disappointed that because we only got 10 episodes, and I was like, oh well, this must mean they're just pouring more effort into other episodes or something. But the fact we're still getting the standard length is a little bit disappointing. And it leads to a little bit less than what I would like, especially given I'm pretty sure we're going to be leaving the Abrupt. I mean, they could surprise us, and we could be here for another volume. But personally, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen.
It better not.
But
I want to see Winter. Where's Elizabeth Maxwell? What the fuck?
Where's Marmy?
Yeah. Wait, what? Hold up.
Hold up.
Reach that on camera. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah. Where is she?
No, but like, so I will say that's my nitpick is the episode length is a little bit like iffy for me. But I will say they have filled the time out well. So I will at least I can give them a bit of an excuse. I can excuse them because they've at least filled the time well, you know.
Yeah, they've done pretty well with what they've got. Steve, what about you? Volume so far?
Well, it's a tricky one from what we've got to rate it or anything yet, because it's so been back and forth with everything that we've gotten. There's bits of it that I'm like oh yeah, it's really good. Then there's been like other episodes and stuff like watching my watch going, when we get into a good bit, oh, the episode's over. Oh.
Yeah, when something's gonna happen.
What?
Oh, like, yeah.
Like the volume, episode 4 of volume 9. It's just like, what? Nothing happened really.
Oh no. Anyway.
Exactly. That is exactly how to sum that up.
Oh no. Anyway.
when Herb fell into the ground. Oh no. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get out of this fucking mushroom. Yeah,
I
should have just used Mario logic and ate the mushroom to get bigger. Like, that would more sense. Like, come on, what are you doing, guys? The movie comes out in a few weeks. Like, what the fuck?
But yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Steve. Keep going.
But yeah, I think after episode 5, which we've literally just finished watching, I've got a much higher positive feel for the volume overall. I can tell that it's now really is leading up to something more than just escape.
Yeah.
Because that's, for the first few episodes, it seemed like the only thing that was going to happen was they escaped. And that didn't actually seem that interesting. This was just a RWBY escape room for the first few volume episodes.
And it was...
Make it.
Oh my god. The worst part about that is all of Team RWBY are presenting characteristics of someone in an escape room. Wax is the one struggling with all the freaking puzzles and beating herself up about it. Yang is the one constantly, confidently going through everything and just saying, you know what? Why don't we just blast our way out of this room and go to the next one? Blake is the one trying to deduce everything and trying to actually think about it with logic and hating the fact nobody's cooperating. And RWBY is just depressed and wants to get the hell out of Dodge and just freaking go to freaking the cinema. It's like, we said we'd go to the cinema after this, guys. I don't want to be here. What's going on? Oh my
I think we've cracked the Matrix. That's just this RWBY Volume 9, The Escape Room. That's it. Done, signed in the movie.
John's just the one 3-year-old that got forgotten about by his parents and never flipping left.
The fucking 3-year-old with that goddamn beard and that voice, like, oh my god, you finally made it.
Oh my
God.
I've been trying to solve this puzzle for so long.
No. Tried to solve it for so long. I've forgotten everything except for family.
I named the model horse over there, Juniper. That's how long this has been.
You see this chess piece? I don't know what it has to do with the puzzle, but it's a horse, and I called it Juniper. I love how I swear to God, in every single Red Rose cast, Steve starts saying something, then me and the guest just derail whatever the fuck he's saying. Like,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so obviously after the last episode, chapter 5, it does seem like there's going to be more of a story than just them escaping from Remnant. I don't know whether, because now we've seen Jean and we've got him back and we know stuff to do with Jean. That kind of resolved one of the things, but the only other thing we seem to now have is just to do with Neo. But how much of an impact she's actually going to make, I think she's still unsure.
Well, given the fact that she's just done it twice and done a sad man's parade of freaking Jabberwocks across the entire freaking ever after.
Exactly, yeah. She's just, my God. I actually genuinely want to do you put this in the video, I don't care. But I genuinely want to do a theory because there's something I've just thought about. You know how the Jabberwock clone eats part of the parfait or whatever it's called, right? And then it gets bigger. That means the Jabberwock has to have a digestive system. So it's not just a clone, she's literally fucking creating life. Like, that is how insane Neo's goddamn clones are. Like, it's not just, oh yeah, this is just like a shell. It's like, no, I've just created a goddamn creature. Like, and clones of myself, which are totally alive, and it's just mental. And you should not have put me on a spinny chair. This is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I agree though with you, Steve. In the sense, I think that Neo is going to make a bit of an impact, given what she's clearly been shown to be capable of doing. I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Because I'm trying to remember now as well from the other episodes what it was that. Because Harry kept talking about this, about like ticking off the things that we'd seen that that said from the original bit of the story to escape, and what bit we haven't been ticked off yet.
So at the start of chapter 2, Blake basically says, if I remember correctly, it's 9 different steps that Alex takes, which include arriving and leaving the Ever After. If I remember correctly, 9. Yeah, if I remember correctly, we've done all of them because in this episode, literally at the very end, we meet the Rusted Knight, which is number 8, right?
Oh, is
so
it?
That means there's only one last thing to do, which is leave. But there's still 5 episodes left. There's no way it's going to happen next episode, you know what I'm saying? So I know obviously something pretty big has just happened, but I still feel like there's going to be something else.
I have a theory about that, actually. I have a theory. Because I've recently, because the thing is, in preparation for RWBY Volume 9 as well, I not only rewatched in a week, I rewatched volumes 1 to 8. Which I basically make a habit of rewatching the show like about 10 times every year anyway. So it's
Jesus Christ,
no challenge. But the thing is, I've had a fear because recently, because just last week I decided to watch the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland films, and I. After watching Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is, by the way, I don't understand why people don't like that one. I think it was brilliant, personally. But anyway, one theory I had is because John is called so the character is called the Rusted Knight. Obviously, we know John is the Rusted Knight.
Yep. Spoilers, not like Steve Wander at the start. Of the video.
Yeah, but one theory I have is in Alice Through the Looking Glass, right? The rust is seen as something that corrupts all of time and all of Wonderland. It's something that will eventually erode and destroy everything, and basically. And it even corrupted time itself. And if you notice from the RWBY opening,
good name.
John is young, and and also his 11th hour is missing on the clock. And the 11th hour can sometimes in some cultures represent a missing part of your life, like you've missed out on a part of your life, or some part of you has gone. You've missed your 11th hour. That's where, and if you catch your 11th hour, that means you have lived part of your life. But then if you miss part of your 11th hour, you've missed part of your life. So I think John's time is messed up. So my theory is,
Holy Christ,
the Rusted Knight is a metaphor for the rust in Wonderland, because the rust corrupts anything it touches. Even the amalgamation, both the person and the metaphor that was time, was corrupted eventually by the rust. So I'm wondering if they made the Rusted Knight to represent that time has messed up for him, that he needs to somehow find his 11th hour to go back to normal.
Wow.
That's my theory, personally, like from watching Alice Through the Looking Glass.
damn.
Yeah, that's my personal
I think my head's just exploded, but at the same time, that's awesome. That's so freaking cool.
So cool. I didn't know that about the 11th hour stuff.
I thought it was weird, but I genuinely was like, oh, maybe it's just like a very small error. Like, you get it every now and again in a few Rooster Teeth things. It's fine, I'll look over it. No, it means time is dead. It's like, what? Oh, okay.
Your time is messed up, man.
Like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, that's actually pretty sick. Yeah, so, Volume 9, from the voice of Harry Davidson, which a lot of people tend to not listen to, and I don't blame them. However, this time, well, I guess you can just click off the video instead of listening, but, please don't. Right. I'm going to be brutal. I think Volume 9's a bit meh. Like, on like an overall basis, like as a blanket sort of thing. Don't get me wrong, I thought Chapter 5 was awesome. But in total, I think at the moment it's a bit meh. Like, the first 4 were just okay. You know what I mean? Like, I liked them, but they were like a bit. I think pacing in them was a little bit weird, and I wasn't a huge fan of like how they met up straight away. Like by the end of the first chapter, oh, Team Ruby are back together, awesome. Also, Weiss and Blake just, I found you, and that's cool. I was like, I'd kind of like to actually see it a little bit more. That would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And like how Yang's obviously been there first as well. She even like says that. It would have been nice to maybe seen a little bit more of like Yang's first few hours or maybe even first few days or whatever in the Ever After. That would have been really cool. But instead it's just like, nope, they're here. Let's shoot straight into everything that's going to be happening. And then as soon as they speed straight into the story, they slow the pace right down. And I'm like, okay, feels a bit weird of a pacing issue, not going to lie. But the world of the Ever After is very well crafted. I think it's been very well written. And even though, like, I do think Chapter 4 was definitely the worst one, it was quite nice to, like, have that little moment with Weiss, Blake, and Yang being very confident about themselves and about who they are. And then obviously the complete contrast that is Ruby.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty awesome. But I just think overall it has been a little bit meh. I'm glad Chapter 5 happened because it made the volume a lot more interesting, not just by like, okay, that was kind of neat to learn about the world, but it's actually made it interesting just in an animation standpoint, in a story standpoint, in a character standpoint. It's now just suddenly hit that next level for me, and I'm like, okay, now this volume is starting to stand up to other higher level volumes in terms of Ruby in general, which is really freaking cool, and I'm very, very glad that it happened. So I agree with what you said, Jacob, in certain ways, like how well it has been written and created and everything, but in a slight way, I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as you seem to by your description. But like I said, I'm glad Chapter 5's happened. I'm actually looking forward for Chapter 6. Because, well, I assume we're going to hear a lot of what the hell Jean's been up to, or at least we better do.
Oh, better do.
Do you know? I think it'd be pretty cool if Chapter 6 wasn't actually a continuation of Chapter 5, but more like a full flashback episode of like everything Jean went through to become the Rusted Knight. That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be cool, because then that would further invest us in exactly what's happened to John. I think, honestly,
yes,
I don't want to hinge. I don't want to put too much weight of responsibility on Roosty's shoulders. But now that I've said it, I actually hope that is what Chapter 6 is.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do. That would be cool.
That would be amazing. Actually, now that you've said that, I really want that. I really wish I am not sat on a spinny chair. This is doing my head. Anyway, but yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the remainder of Volume 9. Hopefully they keep up this level of quality, especially if, like, me and Steve have made this joke on the React, which hopefully y'all at home have gone to see. Thank you very much if you had. If you haven't, go watch it, please. That'd be great. But we ironically, mine and Steve's predictions have been weirdly on point for Volume 9. And one of, like, my big predictions is about how everybody in the world, or at least everybody who's fallen anyway, so Team Ruby, Neo, and Jean, are effectively filling the roles of the fairy tale. So, like, well, characters in the fairy tale, characters in the world, they're like filling said roles. Jean obviously is the Rusted Knight. I was very happy about that, because it didn't confirm my theory, but it made me feel a lot better that maybe it's more accurate. I kind of do feel like Team Ruby are effectively taking the place of Alex. I know it seems a bit cheating to put all 4 of them in it, but like, we could just simply say Ruby is taking the role of Alex, and Weiss, Blake, and Yang are kind of just there as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting you say that, because like the one thing I always take note, because I've watched the opening quite a few times, because I love to analyze these kind, because Ruby openings are so interesting with how they
they're always relevant. Everything in it is relevant. It just,
and the thing I noticed is how because like you saying they're taking the role of Alex, that's a really interesting thing to say, because in the opening, when they're walking, and obviously Ruby's walking at the same pace, they're picking up speed with every page turn. But Alex is there in front, the shadow of Alex. And I was constantly like, but why is she a shadow? But then I'm thinking to myself, well, they're doing exactly what Alex does in the book. So they're basically following the story. So therefore there's a metaphor there. Like, so yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I said that to someone else and they were like, that's stupid. And I was like, oh, okay.
No, you're stupid. Yeah.
You're stupid.
I'm sure you're a nice person. Yeah, and so the other one as well, at the time, Neo was like, well, when I first decided, this is something I've been thinking about, it was actually in Chapter 2. We hadn't seen Neo by that point. So I was a bit like, okay, we want to see her first before I go, okay, this is what I think. We see her at the end of 3. Not a lot happens apart from she kills the Jabberwock. Then obviously Chapter 5, she just makes shit tons of them, which is kind of hilarious. But what is also detailed in the 5th chapter is what the cat says, or as I like to call him, what Robbie Damon says, because that's who he is. And Robbie Damon is a living legend, so
or Pancake Man, as many of us also know his voice actor.
All right, Persona 5, calm down. All right, get chill. But you are correct. He basically turned around and said, the Jabberwock is basically the only thing in the world that can actually kill something. So, like, if you get eaten by the Jabberwock, you don't ascend, I believe is the word that's used. And I just thought that was really interesting. So I sort of saw that as the Jabberwock is like death. Like, you know what I mean? Jabberwock is like the personification of death. Well, Neo has effectively just killed death and made shit tons more of death. Does that mean Neo is effectively going to become the new Jabberwock in a certain sense? So is she slowly starting to fulfill her role in the world, which is death? Like, I know it sounds wild as fuck, and it is wild as fuck, but if you sort of link it to like, Ruby's becoming Alex, Jean's becoming the Rusted Knight, they're all becoming different roles in the world, I don't think it's too far of a stretch, personally. Especially probably going forward, she's going to do mad shit as well.
Yeah, I actually thought that she was becoming the personification of the Mad Hatter, or this Mad Hatter.
Yeah. That would make sense as well.
Because in the opening, she has her tea, and she's got obviously got
Torchwick's
hat, and she's surrounded by a bunch of people. Like, what if that, like, in that opening, that's a metaphor for this is her tea party. This is
yeah, like that is
that
something
kind of
else
thing.
as well.
Mm.
Yeah, at the end of the day, though, she's fulfilling a role in the story, and I feel like that's happening to all the characters. So I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about, and maybe it'll make more sense going forward. I don't know, but that's my big theory. Oh, and the other thing I'm saying as well, yet again, we said this in the React, but we're going over it again, and that is this is the last volume we're going to see Neo. Calling it right now. Not that she's going to die.
You really think that this is the last time?
I don't think she's going to die. I think she's going to stay in the Ever After.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because it ever since I saw the intro, right? When Ruby's falling towards the end of it, there's like the mural behind her. It's all things that happen in the fairy tale, right? And then at the very bottom is Neo. I'm like, but she's not part of the fairy tale. That makes no sense. Unless she becomes part of it by staying there. And thought of as well is that, like, why the hell would she even want to go back to Remnant? What is the reason for Neo to go? Except for maybe she's a bit pissed at Cinder, but she has no other reason to go back to Remnant. Torchwick, her one thing, is dead. The only person she's really mad at is Ruby, which, let's be honest, she's going to try and kill her again. There's probably going to be Ruby's not going to die, right? Neo's not going to kill Ruby. Either Ruby's going to kill Neo, or she's not coming back from the Ever After. That's my theory, to be honest. I'm a bit sad about it because Neo's pretty cool and is now overpowered as fuck. But I don't think she's coming back. Summer is actually in Chapter 5, which is fucking mental. Like, Steve, I want you to talk about this because you went absolutely mental in the React.
Well, the main one was, we've never seen what Summer's weapon was before. So to find out that's what it is, that's what, like, her weapon was this entire time.
Everyone thought it would be like another scythe or something, but then,
to be fair, it's scythe-like.
Yeah, it is. It's like a scythe. It's like an axe scythe. Yeah.
It looks like it's kind of like Crow's sword, where it's like it's an axe, but it's a scythe. Like that. It's Ruby. It's gonna transform somehow.
Which makes me more depressed in the fact that we always know that Crow had a respect for Summer, so it makes me even more depressed that his weapon is like, because that did have a very, very Crow-esque design to it. Different, but you could tell the similarities. Anyway, Stephen, carry on.
Right. So what I was gonna say was, and this, I'm gonna seem like I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but then you'll understand why I'm getting to where I'm getting to. Okay. So, people that don't know, and this is something we even did a theory about talking about this. I think it was literally the first theory we did was to do with Ozpin previous incarnations and making the schools which house the what do you call them? They're not doors.
The vaults.
The vaults. Sorry. Holds the vaults that hold the relics. Now, if you look back at previous things, Ozpin was him in his incarnation. So technically, Ozma was like the one who actually put them together. He was the one involved in doing it. But it's actually very unclear on when that actually happened, when he actually created the vaults. It was some point after the war, because we know, well, it's heavily implied that the relics were used in the Great War, so it's seemingly after the Great War, but before the time we know it. But when during that period it happened is a bit unclear. But the thing is, we also know that in the past, Ozpin was using Team Stark as his go-to people. They were literally his thing. So I have thought in the past, is it possible that Team Stark were around when the vaults were being created? Right? Now, the reason that this is the thing, because people have obviously said about, before we even saw, the Ever After, about the fact that the closest thing we've seen are the vaults. The vaults themselves are that type of thing. So I've had it in my head for a while that there's maybe some connection somewhere to the vaults and Ever After, but really didn't have anything to go off. So then when I suddenly see Summer's weapon in this Ever After, I'm going, hang on a minute. Does that mean Summer and possibly others knew about the Ever After? Well, hang on, if that's the case, doesn't it seem more plausible that that information either was because something happened when a vault was being created, which ended up somehow sending it there, or that they went to the Ever After, discovered, hang on, we can have worlds outside of Remnant. Why don't we make that to store the relics? And in that turn of events can be how we have Summer's weapon in the Ever After. Like, it could literally be a case of they escaped the Ever After. This would even be a case of where maybe not even Alex was the first person to visit the Ever After. She may have been after, and the fact she fell through the world under unexperienced times, it could be a case of whatever happened when they were creating the vaults at some point in time caused some ripple effect which sent Alex into the Ever After, maybe along with Summer's weapon at the same time. Like, I don't know about that. That's maybe a bit too crazy, but I feel like them events are now probably linked in some way. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, there has to be. I did also, while you were saying that, I just remembered, I'm pretty sure Ozpin at some point, I think it's when, in Volume 8, when Oscar's getting tortured by Hazel, because they're talking about the girl who fell through the world.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, doesn't Ozpin actually say, I've lived through my fair share of said fairy tales? So if he's literally lived through the girl who fell through the world, going off what you were just saying, Steve, that would mean that Team Stark and obviously Ozpin, or Ozma, whoever, have also been to the Ever After. That's how they know about the Ever After to make the vaults go to the Ever After. That's why you can't find them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's interesting to think about. That's pretty cool.
Like they say,
this also means it's actually Yang's second time in the Ever After, which I've just sort of realised. That's welcome. Anyway, continue.
Well, no, not necessarily, because it could still be after they were born. But
no, as in Yang went into the vault to grab the relic of
I
knowledge.
see what you mean. Right,
she went into the vault, so therefore she went into the Ever After. So technically, it's a second time. Wham. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, because I never even thought actually. Yeah, if the vaults are just in the Ever After as a biome area. Oh god, I never even thought of it like that.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying.
No. Oh, that's an even more idea. Oh god.
It'd actually be pretty hilarious. I could see that though. I could 100% see that.
I could now you've said that. Yeah, I've not thought of it like that.
So yeah, just gone Volume 5. Obviously, we've only got 5 more to go. But as aforementioned, there was 9 steps followed by Alex to get out. The 9th step was nice and simply just leaving the Ever After. We're on step 8. That's just happened. How do we think they are going to fill 5 chapters to just cover one last step, which is leave the Ever After? How do we think they are going to fill the time, basically? How do we think they're going to do that? Jacob, I'll let you go first.
Well, it's interesting because, with what's happened to John, regardless of what actually is, why he's gotten so old, like, regardless of what's happened or his time, that's thrown such a curveball, like, because as we say, we thought this was just going to be a standard get to the tree and leave, but now it's like the question of, well, time's flown by so much for John. Is he even going to change? That's the thing. Is he even going to change now? Because this has changed so. Like, that's the thing people need to realize is people could, like, you never know, they could just I'm pretty sure time is in some way messed up for him, and there's gonna be a way to fix it. But they could surprise us and keep John. Like this could be a permanent change. That's the thing. Like that's the thing that people don't. So this is such a curveball. So it's quite difficult to say what could happen. But personally, thinking roughly off the top of my head of what could potentially happen. One thing that I was really, heavily thinking about when it came to the volume was like sort of like the interesting the process to get to the tree, like how they're running up the tree and then suddenly they're falling back down again. And that could be a metaphor for them, just that's like how they fell through the world. That's just a metaphor. But I think there's more to it. I think there's going to be more than just get to the tree. There'll be something beyond just that, because the thing is, I think that we haven't even seen like the higher power of the Ever After yet, because it's interesting because when like the Jabberwock, before he gets killed by Neo, he's talking about repairing something, and he's got gears and parts, and it's like, and
that is very true. Yeah.
And in the opening, we see Ruby running down this trippy purple tinged, like filtered, pathway area. And all the doors look exactly like the vaults. Like all the doors look exactly like the vaults. So, my theory.
He's very happy to hear that.
I didn't notice that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, if you watch and you pause at the moments when they're running across the purple, pathways, you'll see all the doors look exactly like the vaults. And this is a theory I had when the volume first started. With that opening, this just it just suddenly came to me was okay, so this is clearly the basis for the foundation for where these vaults are. So the Ever After, because what I was thinking is now obviously the vaults we know isn't the Ever After, because if it was, then they would all like that. It can't be just the Ever After. But
I don't know, it could, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
But however, I do think it is connected to the Ever After. I think these vaults are connected. These spaces are connected in some way. And the reason why I say that is because like when the Jabberwock is in this area, this space, and he's like, I must repair, like he's got the gears and everything, and I think he's somebody who helps build the vaults or helps create these things, or like in some way is connected to that. And the reason why I say that is because I think I agree with the whole thing of Ozpin did go to the Ever After, did live through the fairy tale, but I think there's got to be a higher power in the Ever After. And I think this is what brings in the equivalent to time, because we know time is a person in Wonderland. Obviously he'll be named obviously he'll be named somebody different, like maybe something like Mirror Master or something, or like, somebody who's like just connected to, different worlds and realms. And I think he's going to be the one, or he or she is going to be the one in charge of all of the Ever After. And I think he made Ozma, when he was there, he made a deal with this higher power. And because this world belongs to him in some way, he took certain aspect of the Ever After and said, here, you can have this, you can have that. We will build vaults for you connected to this reality, or connected to a part of this reality, to store these relics. In return, but I don't know necessarily what they would ask in return, but maybe
that's the thing.
There's some. So that's why I think, like in the fairy tale, it's get to the tree to escape. But I think there's more to it. I think that I think that if anything, the person who is at the tree, like the tree, actually houses the person that runs the Ever After. That actually is the one in charge of everything.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
And in the story of Through the Looking Glass, it's always make a deal with time. You've got to make some kind of a deal with time, or there's always time always wants something in return for
yes, there you go.
What you want. And therefore I'm thinking, for when Ozma was there, he made a deal to extract certain parts of the world, and he made some sort of a sacrifice. We don't know what that is. I personally think that's where he lost most of his magic. I want your magic. So I see
that.
That's the price. I want your magic. He says, because we never got an explanation for why his magic is finite. Why is it finite? Why is it running out? Unless he gave away the source of his magic to this
maybe that's why it is finite in the first place. Yeah, maybe that's why
and
it's
that was
finite in the first place. Yeah,
and that was the price. And by the way, I'm just thinking, I'm thinking about the price. I'm just thinking about the price right off the top of my head as we're doing this. I didn't actually have an idea for what the price could be, but that's the most realistic.
That sounds legit, though. I would totally be down for that.
And that's going to be the twist. And I think that's what's going to. I also think that's what's going to lead to them gambling John's, time to be restored and things to bring back his 11th hour, as it were. Like they'll be the one in charge of it. And I think that the Jabberwock is going to be somehow connected to this person. Don't know how yet, but because it's interesting. Because I say that because I just think it's interesting because how he mentions before he runs into Neo, before Neo crashes there, he's like must repair, like as if he's still doing a task of some sort. Like,
it is weird.
Or he's in charge of some aspect of the world or the reality. That's what, because the Jabberwock is always seen as this higher, even in Wonderland, it was seen as this overpowered, mystical creature from, that not even many of the people from Wonderland understood what it was. So, it's not a stretch to say that it's somehow a servant of this higher power or like whoever, runs the Ever After. Anyway, that's like, I don't know if they're going to do, but I just think it's interesting because we've had all the characters so far from Wonderland, or like obviously inspirations of them. So I'm thinking, where's time? That's what I'm thinking. Where is the personification of time, or like obviously not time as in the character, but like what is where's going to be the character that's an inspiration of time? That's what I'm. That's
it makes logical sense to assume that if they've already taken like quite a bit of inspiration from A, they're going to continue to take inspiration from A. You know what I mean? So that would make a lot of sense. While you were talking, I know you were spitballing. You were saying about the vaults and everything. How fucking hilarious would it be if that's how Team Ruby get out the Ever After? They walk out the Vacuo vault. Wham.
That would be pretty damn cool.
Oh my god.
That would just be hilarious. That would be cool.
That would be oh my god.
Oh, by the way, we're taking this crown.
Impossible. How did Salem do this? Oh, hey.
Hey guys. What's up? How's it hanging?
What?
I just love the idea.
John, why do you look like that?
I just love the idea of like an almost and I've seen this in multiple different series that have done a similar thing where they've like you have like an impenetrable thing and then it's just like, but then from the other side of this impenetrable thing it's easy as hell to exit or whatever.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, hey guys. Yeah, how's it going?
Just like there's an open here door button on the like other side of the door.
In regards to them like filling the time, so like filling chapter 6 till 10, I still don't know how they are going to do it. Obviously, we said a little bit earlier about maybe chapter 6 could be just a complete flashback on what the hell happened to Jean. Let's just take that as gospel for now and say, okay, so how are they going to do the next 3 episodes? I have no idea. Steve, no, I'm joking. Another thing I've said that's like, it's not really a fleshed out theory, if you will. It's just something that I still think is going to happen. I still think something big is going to happen. Like, I don't think something big's going to happen, and that something big is going to involve Neo. I know that obviously in chapter 5 she just made like an army of Jabberwocks, more than likely killed a whole load of citizens just to try and get to Ruby, obviously. I still feel like that's not her big play, if you know what I mean. Like, I still think she's going to do something, and it's going to affect everything. Like, there's going to be some mad shit, it's going to probably affect, like, not necessarily the entire world, but, like, it's going to affect them getting to the tree. Hell, it might be something as freaking mental as, like, she killed... We'll take your spitball theory here, Jacob, and say there is a time. Maybe she kills time with a Jabberwock and it never comes back. She becomes the ruler of the Ever After. How fucking crazy would that be? Have fun getting out now when I control when you get out, bitches. Like, that would be mental. I don't see it happening, but, like, I still want something insane.
That would be the ultimate level of petty revenge. Oh, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to kill you, but you're not going to leave.
Yeah, that'd just be insane. I'm still waiting for that one big thing. It could even happen in the finale, but I'm gonna be honest. As much as I think the Ever After is very interesting, I want to go back to Vacuo as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
It's
Like
funny
I
you
don't
say
want to stay
that
in the Ever
because-
After any longer.
It's funny you say that because one of my biggest things I was hoping for with Ruby Volume 9 was it wouldn't just 100% focus on Team Ruby and the others in there, that there'd be some sort of a side story of what's going on, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like I even had this whole idea, like, because the thing is, I always do this. I even had this whole idea where like there's a like if this how would have happened, I'd be like, guys, I know how to. I'd be like, guys, I know how to do the poster. So first, you've got to get Winter on one side with her like burning fire or like the blue flames eye, and everybody like from Vacuo on one side. Then you've got Ruby on the other side with white fire coming out of her eyes to represent the silver eyes, and you've got everyone in the Ever After, and in the middle maybe a silhouette of whoever controls the Ever After or something. That literally was what I was thinking. I was like, but obviously
that'd be so funny.
Obviously that didn't happen, but like that's I'm bringing that up because I brought that up because how you brought up like I want to go back to Remnant. I agree with that. Like I was personally hoping for a focus on both, but at the same time though, I'm pretty sure Rooster Teeth haven't recovered still to this day from Volume 4 because that was a cluster. They really struggled with prioritizing the stories in there. It was a great volume, don't get me wrong, but they really struggled with prioritizing.
Was it a great volume?
I personally enjoyed it, but I can admit that they definitely struggled. They most certainly struggled with keeping all the priorities.
Oh yeah,
so,
they had no fucking clue what they were doing with Yang, and it proper pissed me off. I'm like,
no, I know.
We're gonna have one fucking chapter with Yang, and then she's just gonna piss off. I'm like, no, we need more. Anyway, that's my volume 4 rant. Steve, what do you think's gonna happen in volume 9?
Well, I'll be honest. Amazingly, Jacob said a lot of things that I was actually going to say myself. Like, I totally think that there is a higher power in, like, the Ever After, where the Ever After is essentially their playpen, their toy box, essentially. Like, where they do what they want to do. And last episode, in episode 4, where you have the characters like saying who they are and some of them being confident in who they are. I actually think that is the type of thing they will need when they get to wherever it is to escape. I feel like you have to trust in who you are and what you are to be able to leave. And I think until that point, that is going to be a big problem. Like, I could actually see it
with Ruby,
where it gets to be, like, it gets to the, like, end episodes, or, like, maybe next episode, or even after that, they get to the bit to escape, but only, like, Ruby, Weiss, and Yang are actually able to leave, because the others aren't, like, trusting in who they are.
I think you mean Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Like Ruby was the one who was unconfident about herself, but that would still be very, very interesting.
We also
we get to chapter 9. I just want to quickly bring this up. We get to chapter 9, and then Weiss, Blake, Yang leave. Ruby and Neo don't. That would be fucking awesome for like the finale, for a final fight, which we always need in a finale, and B, Ruby to like finally gain her own confidence. I mean, hell, going off what was it? The out of the hat theory.
Where she then reveals that
where she reveals the actual relic, and then I mean, she only really needs Ruby at the end of the day. Well, she's only after Ruby. Hell, maybe Neo's the reason Ruby doesn't actually leave. Maybe she does become confident in herself, but then just before they're about to leave, Neo just effectively goes like, "Hey, no way, bitch," and just pulls her back in, sort of thing. And then the rest of them, kind of like how Winter couldn't save Jean from actually falling into the Ever After in the first place. Kind of that thing. Like,
I always find that so funny because
Neo
it's as
was,
if as if she was going so fast that her momentum just carried her into the pool. So like she was just flying towards the pool. Okay, gotta go. Oh no, I've forgotten John. Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know how to use my powers that much yet. Oh,
I don't know how to, oh no, I don't know how do you stop this? Oh.
But another thing as well, from like what we've like now we know Jean's aged up, and this Jacob might understand this more because I think he's watched more stuff.
Right.
But there's an episode.
I'll leave you fucking nerds to talk about it 1 minute.
There's an episode of Doctor Who called The Girl Who Waited, and basically you have a really old Amy and a really young Amy, and like it's a decision of which one you leave with.
Yeah.
Do you leave with the one that was trapped in the environment for ages, or do you leave with the one that basically was there for a little period of time but doesn't have all that experience, or even just in the same body? Like, I feel like that'd be a decision, especially if it was John making it himself, to have to pick would be insane. Like, do I return as the young, like, guy person that wasn't maybe as experienced as I was, or do I leave as the person I am now? Because whichever one it is, you're kind of sacrificing the other, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah, absolutely. No, I agree, and also that would go into the whole thing of the finding your 11th hour. But in this case, John he's literally faced with his 11th hour. There's two of them.
Yeah.
All right then, guys. So that was a Red Rose cast. I don't remember what number it is. It doesn't matter because they're numbered for some reason, and I don't know why. They're just in timeline with Ruby, obviously. So yeah, thanks you so much for watching, and obviously, thank you, Jacob, for appearing in the Red Rose cast for the first and hopefully not last time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come back to this. This has been fun. It's been lovely. Thank you for having me.
Great. All right, absolutely fine. Remember, everybody, the Abrupt Canine. Go check out his videos. You at home, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget, drop a like.
Leave a comment.
Subscribe's always appreciated.
And don't forget to ring the notification bell to hear about our latest videos.
You want to say anything, Jacob? Any last words?
Yeah, thank you all so very much for watching it, just as they said. And yeah, Canine out.
Bye.
Bye, have a good time.